What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of The Variety Views. I'm your host, The Variety Vendor, and I'm here to rebook the worst. Back again, this time rebooking the worst pay-per-view of 2016, as stated by What Culture. 2016 was a weird year. I remember it was definitely better than 2015 for me. I don't know if that's the case for everybody else, but I remember enjoying a lot of the stuff that was going on in 2016 much more, because 2015 was a bad year. Like mid 2014 up until the entire year of 2015, there wasn't much to really enjoy. I did enjoy, the John Cena Open Challenge. I did enjoy some of the stuff that Seth Rollins was doing, and some of the stuff that was going on with the New Day. When they first were when they were heels, and slowly really turning a corner, and the fans were really getting into what they were doing. I do believe SummerSlam was the first time where they really a shot up in their stocks. So 2016, the pay-per-view that they chose, or I guess the pay-per-view that was voted as being the worst, was Fastlane. Now, I remember that show being mediocre. I don't remember it being really bad. If anything, I think Clash of Champions was worse, because I do remember the main event was terrible. You had Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, and they had a bad match. They ended up having better matches along the way, but this was that was the worst of their series of matches. So they chose Fastlane, and let's look at the card, or let's look at what they said about Fastlane. While there's plenty of room to debate with regards to the best pay-per-view of the year, the bottom of the barrel will likely be unsurprising to most. Fastlane is supposed to be the show that really kickstarts the road to WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble might plant the seeds, but Fastlane is meant to really rev your engines in anticipation of the grand stage of them all. I see what you did there. Fastlane 2016 might as well have been called Lay-By or Rest Stop. This was a show that featured Charlotte and Brie Bella's now forgotten feud, Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens' now forgotten feud, and a match in which the Wyatt family lost to Kane, Big Show, and Ryback. Why was this allowed to happen on pay-per-view in 2016? Yes, I completely agree. You may remember Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns being decent, and it was, but also served to kick Roman's insane Superman booking into overdrive and hyped a WrestleMania main event nobody wanted. Oh, and Curtis Axel defeated R-Truth in under 3 minutes on the main card on pay-per-view in 2016. Yeah, this show was it was mediocre, like I stated earlier. But I do remember there were a couple of matches that I enjoyed. They mentioned Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler. The pre-show I remember being kick-ass. I don't understand why that match wasn't on the main card. Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio, 2 out of 3 falls for the United States Championship. You had AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. I think that was their second meeting. Their first match being on Raw. This was their second match. I think, not sure. And of course they had their match at WrestleMania that same year. Curtis Axel, he was part of the Social Outcasts with Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Heath Slater. He defeated R-Truth for some reason. It was supposed to be the match that really. But it was supposed to be the buffer before the main event. I understand, having a match like that. But at the same time, I would have done it with other competitors, not these guys. And the main event was really good. I remember the main event being really good, and the ending was quite spectacular, with Dean Ambrose beating the crap out of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns with a steel chair, and the fans are just going crazy. But at the end, Roman won. Yeah, the Wyatt family match was it was very head scratching. We had Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch and Sasha defeated Team Bad. If you remember, Team Bad also had, fun fact, they had the Street Profits theme at this time. I'm not sure if they used it in this pay-per-view, but I remember them using it in house shows. So let's rebook it. Let's rebook the show. Yeah, I agree. I think Fastlane should be used as like a hype machine for WrestleMania. And I really think if they switched it with Roadblock, because I do remember Roadblock being a fun show, even though that it was a house show. It should have been like that should have been Fastlane. It was a much better show. I remember Triple H and Dean Ambrose having a great match. It was one of those forgotten gems, and it was amazing. Like, I really think that could have been a much better main event. But here, let's rebook this. All right. Here's what I would have done. I would have started off the show with 3 matches. Right. You got Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles and Alberto Del Rio. And the reason why I'm naming these 3 off the bat is because the winners of these 3 matches would meet up later on in the night in a triple threat match, with the winner facing the champion at WrestleMania. Because if you remember, the Royal Rumble that year was for the WWE Championship. Roman Reigns was defending his title at the Royal Rumble. Now, what I would have done there was have Roman Reigns retain at the Royal Rumble, go through everybody, and really have a great showing, beat people up, and at the end he wins. And after the match, after the Rumble, Triple H comes out, makes his big return, attacks Roman Reigns, beats the crap out of him, because Roman has just went through 29 other men, and Triple H is beating the crap out of him, and that's how we go off the air with the Royal Rumble. And that is the main event for Fastlane. It's Roman Reigns versus Triple H in a street fight for the WWE title. Not at WrestleMania, no. Triple H versus Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And before that, we would have, like right after the 3 matches I stated earlier, with Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles and Alberto Del Rio. What I like about those 3 matches is that Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose, they have history. Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler, they have history. AJ Styles and Alberto Del Rio, it's a fresh match, And what I would have for Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose is that after Daniel Bryan, at the time, Daniel Bryan, not Bryan Danielson, after he retired, he shows up on SmackDown. He's about to say goodbye to everybody, and Kevin Owens comes out, and he's just a dick to him. He's just talking about, just freaking go home. Nobody cares about you. You had your moment at Raw. Just leave, okay? Nobody wants to see you anymore, and that gets him a lot of heat. And really ruining a lot of Daniel Bryan's interviews, to the point where at Fastlane, when you have Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens wants to go and cheat to defeat Dean Ambrose. Daniel Bryan comes in and he helps Dean Ambrose win the match. Now, it doesn't set up Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. It sets up Daniel Bryan picking somebody to go up against Kevin Owens, somebody like an up and comer. Maybe have Kalisto. Maybe at the time you had a couple of guys that you could have built up. With Daniel Bryan kind of coaching or being the manager of maybe somebody from NXT. You could have done that. So. Yeah, the winners of the 3 matches that would lead to the triple threat is Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, and AJ Styles. That is your triple threat. Also on the show, you got the United States Championship on the line, Kalisto versus Big Show versus Kane. It's an uphill battle for Kalisto, and I feel like him being slotted as the underdog champion would have been great. You keep doing that. him going up against Big Show, going up against Kane, going up against Mark Henry, going up against Braun Strowman, Luke Harper, the entire Wyatt family. I think it would be fun to see Kalisto really rise up to the occasion, because he was supposed to be the 2016 version of Rey Mysterio, and we all know how that ended up being. So I think, continuing with that theme would have been great, with Kalisto going over Big Show and Kane. You could do something with Big Show and Kane, Kane delivering maybe a superplex, and the fans are going crazy because they think the ring is about to break again, but no, it doesn't, and Kalisto, jumps up and falls on Kane, and then 1, 2, 3 wins the match right away. Or he could, pin Big Show. So, and escapes with the title. So another match for Kalisto to escape with. Also in the show, I would have done a scramble match for the Divas Championship. At the time, it was the Divas title. Charlotte defending the Divas title against Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Brie Bella. It was a while since we've seen a scramble match, so why not? Let's see a scramble match at Fastlane. It plays into the whole, jockeying for position before WrestleMania. Also on the show, I would have done a gauntlet match for Brock Lesnar, him wanting to get his hands on Bray Wyatt. I would have had Bray Wyatt eliminate Brock Lesnar at the Rumble with the help of the Wyatt family. So Brock Lesnar wants to avenge that loss. He wants to get back at Bray Wyatt. He goes through the Wyatt family, beats Eric Rowan, beats Luke Harper via countout, beats Braun Strowman via DQ, because Braun Strowman is using a steel chair or whatnot. And then finally, Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, and Brock Lesnar can barely get up to his feet because he went through a couple of wars with the Wyatt family. Now it's against Bray Wyatt, and that is when Bray goes over with the help of the Wyatt family, and Brock Lesnar is down. The Wyatt family beats up Brock Lesnar some more, and that's when Ryback comes out and he makes the save, and now we have an unlikely duo between Brock Lesnar and Ryback. It could lead to like a house show where Brock Lesnar teams up with Ryback, a couple of house show loops with Brock Lesnar and Ryback, and then at WrestleMania you can do Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt, one-on-one. Because Bray Wyatt was cleared. He was cleared the night after WrestleMania. I remember him having a match the night after WrestleMania, so why not? Just do it, Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. And as for the triple threat match, it could really go either way. You could have Ambrose go over, and then you do Ambrose versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's a match that they haven't really done. There was they had only one match against each other one-on-one, and it was the finals of Survivor Series 2015. So building up to WrestleMania, doing Roman Reigns versus Ambrose, I think it would have been a great main event. And AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho, hey, it could play into it during this triple threat where Jericho has the match won, but AJ Styles thwarts him. So now Jericho blames AJ Styles for taking away his spot in the main event, and thus turning on AJ Styles. And they can have a couple of matches on Raw, and you could do something for WrestleMania. They can still have their match for WrestleMania, but now you've added more heat to it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go up and down the card one more time. Start off the show with Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles and Alberto Del Rio. Scramble match for the Divas Championship. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair versus Naomi versus Brie Bella. The U.S. title on the line, Kalisto versus Big Show versus Kane. Gauntlet match, Brock Lesnar versus the Wyatt family. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles, with the winner facing the champion at WrestleMania. And for the WWE Championship, the main event, street fight for the WWE title, Roman Reigns versus Triple H. Roman Reigns coming in as champion, going up against Triple H, and that's it. That's how we go off the air, with Roman Reigns holding up the title and Dean Ambrose coming up with his bandaged up ribs and taped up arm, and him looking at Roman Reigns, and both of them looking at the WrestleMania sign, and Roman Reigns holds up the championship. Simple, effective. There we go. And that is my rebooking of Fastlane 2016. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it. What would you do different? And with that being said, like and subscribe. Ding that bell icon to be notified on future episodes on the Variety Vendor channel. And check out my next video. I'll be talking about something else. Take care.